Oh, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Sharks pull off another one over Vancouver. Hello, it's AJ Strong. It's Pucknology After Dark. I'm here with Eric Snotch Pro, Jay Alexander. What's happening, buddy?
What's going on? God, that was a fucking clincher of a game. Jesus.
Oh, dude. Holy crap, man. Martin Jones. Anyway, little housekeeping to do at the beginning. Pucknology After Dark. If you want to interact with us on the chat, by all means, or on the Twitter machine, hashtag Pucknology After Dark, hashtag PAD Sharks. It's all good. And then I'm at AJ underscore strong. He is at J Alexander 46, as you can see on his lower third. And if you could do us all a favor, if you haven't yet, hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom. That would help us out tremendously. Thank you. We appreciate that. So tonight's game, Vancouver somehow snatches the defeat from the jaws of victory once again. I believe Vancouver leads the league in this. I know that the boys on TSN 1040 were lamenting another game lost in the third period, and funnily enough, two in two games to the Sharks. Hopefully this happens again on Saturday. Well, no, hopefully the Sharks just bury them on Saturday. But actually, I missed the first period tonight. I was only able to watch the second or third. How'd they look in that first period?
Pretty much you didn't miss anything. They didn't decide to show until you did, apparently, essentially. It was really bad. It was like they just seemed very flat-footed. They just didn't seem like their heads were in it. And then there was two goals from the Canucks in New Year again. I'm just sitting there going like, oh, please God, don't let this be the start of something where the Sharks February now becomes the new March or some shit like that. It was bad. But gotta give the boys credit. You know, if this was the old Sharks like from a year ago, it would have been 4-0 by the end of this game, but they came back and with some timely goals. So
Oh yeah, big time. And could you imagine if that was Nemo on that breakaway?
oh God, it would have been over.
Yeah,
It's like,
probably would
okay,
have.
okay. No glory holes here. No glory holes here. Ah, 5 hole.
No Emmys, no Emmys. Yeah. So thanks a lot, AJ. I'm not sure what that's about, Ian, but you'll have to let me know. So anyway, watching the second and the third, obviously I didn't miss much because I thought they looked pretty good in the second and the third. We get that first goal. Now let me ask you this: do you think they got the call right for Hurdle's tip-in?
There was no definitive proof, so the call was right. It wasn't like, I that's what I'm saying is that I was sitting there going like, oh, they're reviewing it. This is going to be the part of the game where the Sharks get fucked over by the Toronto, but there was no definitive proof, and the goal stood. So good one for Hurdle for going to the net. Wow, what a
Well,
concept!
and good one for the Sharks for, well, I shouldn't say good one for the Sharks. Well, I guess good one on the officials for getting the call right on the ice. So with their out being definitive proof, because obviously had they said no goal and it went to a review, there was no definitive proof the other way either. So
Yeah,
I will take that, and that's as previously as we've stated it so many times with the whole hashtag That's So Sharks. These games against the Canucks, it's like that's so nuts that obviously we were happy to get the 2 points, especially in division, and try to keep pace with the on-fire Ducks, who have won yet another one for their 10th consecutive victory. I mean, give me a break. But at least they stayed on pace. But you can't get too excited, or you don't want to get too high on the horse that you came back twice against a very bad Canucks team. But I'll take it, and I
no,
look forward to the game on Saturday.
well, this is the part of the schedule that we were kind of looking forward to, is that, most of the games are on this side, are in our time zone. We're not going, on a 7-game roadie here. But then again, you got to look at the Sharks. They have been dominant on the road. They have been playing a simple game. They've been playing a simple style of game. So you got to give them credit for that. And then, they're beating teams that they should be beating, with the exception of that one lackluster event in at home against the Buffalo Sabres. But
Ugh.
ever since that, they've been responsive. They have gotten timely goals from their big guys. Hurdle gets one tonight, and then the beginning of the third period, you just get a nice little simple wrister from Brent Burns, and that's why he's back there on the blue line. And now he leads. I believe he leads the all NHL defensemen in goal scoring. So
I think so, and
if
I'm
he's not in
sure.
the Norris, conversation, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure Ian can confirm.
I don't
And
know why.
well, I was just going to say, for me, when it comes to Burns and the Norris conversation, when that was being talked about, say, a month and a half or 2 months ago, when they were kind of uttering his name, I was kind of laughing, going, "Are you crazy? The dude's like a minus 13 or so." At one point, I think he was like minus 18, minus 19 or whatever. And now Kurz tweeted it out. I don't have it in front of me, but over the last I can't remember, like since the Winnipeg game or something like that, the dude is on fire with at like a plus 10. So I mean that's huge, and the fact that once again I was all ready to come in and just jump on the Sharks special teams again, because it was just a case of we had gone 3 for 15 over the last 5, but then it was like bordering on 3 for 18 when you included tonight. So it was kind of, but that 3 for 15, it's like, well, you're at 20%. You've gone 0 for 3. Come on, let's get it now to keep it at 20%, or well, actually it would be 25. But yes, and they got it. So okay, the Kurz tweet is Brent Burns +2 so far tonight at the time of that tweet, and he's a plus 10 since January 7th. So that is quite the epic turnaround. And with that, we bring in a couple more of the usual suspects. Well, it looks like one usual suspect, one unusual suspect. We have the angry Canadian at Ian Reed. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, you know what the thing with, because you're just talking about Burns and the Norris, it seems like this is a trophy that really needs to get split into two, because you have, basically it always seems to go to the defenseman that puts up the most points.
Yep.
And if the forwards have the Selke trophy, like, you should split the Norris. You should have the Norris be for, your defensive defenseman, and then have the Bobby Orr trophy for for the Erik Karlssons and the Brent Burnses and players of that ilk.
No, I agree with that. I think that would be, because it just seems, or it should also, if you're gonna give awards to anything, you should also determine did your team end up making the playoffs? Because right now everyone's talking about Erik Karlsson, he's gonna run away with it, but yeah, good for him. But is his team going anywhere in the postseason? No.
No.
Yeah. And with that, we bring in our other suspect, Randall Hunter. What's going on, bro? What do you think about Burns and the Norris discussion?
To be quite honest, those trophies, it would be cool. He's definitely in contention in the NHL. No. Is he this season? Probably not. He's probably the most improved at his position, considering he's been bouncing from the blue line to a forward for half of his career. But I think the addition of Paul Martin to this team has allowed him to possibly even be in that discussion for a Norris. I mean, that acquisition, even though it might not show up on the score sheet all the time, it's allowed him to be a little bit more free with how he is able to move up and down the ice and play with the puck a little bit more, instead of him worrying about making a mistake. Because last season, anytime he did something great and he had a great game or a great play, he followed it with 2 negatives. And for him to have a little bit more freedom and know that he has a guy staying at home to back him up, that's what's helped him out the most. But, we've had MVPs, we've had Rocket Richards. At the end of the day, I just want to beat one of these California teams in a playoff series again, and then, I'll be worried about one trophy after that.
Damn right. And one of our favorite follows at Shark Stats tweeting out Brent Burns road ranking among NHL defensemen. 14 goals. These are all on the road. 14 goals, 30 points, 55 power play points, 145 shots on goal. All of these ranked at number 1 in the NHL. So the dude is a cannon on the road.
But he's on the wrong side of the Mississippi.
Exactly. But I also want to say that Randall did make a really good point to the fact that he has a good defensive partner in Martin, because last year his defensive partners, I believe, were Mirko Mueller and Scott Hannon. So when you have a rookie and an aging defenseman as your partners, you're gonna look very bad on the score sheet. So the fact that he has somebody who's NHL caliber who can just come in and just play a simple game and allow Burns to do his thing and then cover his ass.
Well, didn't he also have Vlasic for a brief time because Braun was injured?
Yeah, and he also had a goalie who left in a softie every game, so that didn't help.
True that. True that. Okay, moving on. Hey, Patrick Marleau scores a regular strength goal for his first one of the calendar year. What do you think? Hey!
Patrick Marleau has the flair for the dramatics, may I say. I mean, he could go 10 games where you're just like, was he on the ice tonight? I did not even see him, but when he scores, it's so noticeable. It seems like he's had just a phenomenal season when he finally does score, because everyone's like, oh my God, that was such a big goal. That pass was just beautiful. I mean, he definitely has the flair for the dramatics. Anytime he's being talked about negatively in the press, he always comes out the next game with a big goal or, just a great all-around effort. But, he isn't getting the stats that he normally gets, and there was a lot of trade talk for him this deadline, but I just didn't see it very realistic or smart to get rid of this guy at the deadline. I mean, I don't see it helping out our team at all. We could get some prospects or draft picks, but that's not going to help us out for the playoffs. And bottom line is, this guy's a 17-year vet. How many playoff series has he been in? He's such a presence in that locker room, and we have such good chemistry going on right now that, he is a big part of this team, whether people want to believe it or not. But, it's nice to see him get a goal. But I think that pass was from Donskoy was what really made that goal nice.
Oh, and if you see, you uttered Donskoy, which means Ian Reed must speak.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Like, Donskoy, to me, it's funny because I had a thing on Twitter about this where I said, well, first I said, like, Joe Thornton's the MVP, but you got to figure that Burns is up there. But if you want to talk about just consistency, it's Jonas Donskoy by a mile. The guy he never takes a shift off. It doesn't matter if the Sharks are down by 100 goals or, they're up by 2. He's always just working his butt off, and you can't really, he's my, if you look at the signings that Doug Wilson did over the summer, that's my favorite by far.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, and obviously I'll start with Gentry here. Do you think one of the reasons why we haven't seen as many points from Marleau this year is because he was shifted to center and not playing what has been his normal position for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons?
No, I think he's pretty much playing whatever position that DeVere wants him to play, and he's been kind of a good second line guy, and that's the role he's been wanting since he came to the Sharks. He's never wanted to be the number 1. He's always wanted to be the number 2. So when you had Jumbo who came in 2005, it kind of gave Marleau a chance to kind of slide back and just kind of be a role, center, a key guy who can score timely goals if need be. I mean, despite what everybody says about Patrick Marleau, he's on pace to score over 20 goals, 25 at least. So you got to give him credit, and tonight was a game winner. So let's hope he's trending in the right track, towards the end of the season, because we all know that once Patrick Marleau gets going, and especially in the playoffs, he tends to stay hot for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Tomas Hertl, 12 goals over the last 24 games since he's been the mainstay on the top line, which begs the question, DeBoer, what took you so long? Ian and I were discussing this during the Pacific Division preview back in September.
Mm-hmm.
That Hertl should have been on that top line to start. How are you feeling about this top line going into the playoffs with as hot as they've been?
I feel fantastic with Hertl on the top line. And the thing is, though, I know we say, like, DeBoer, what were you thinking? But I honestly, point production aside, I thought Hertl was really, really good at that third line center. And it's nice to know that you have the versatility that you can move around the lineup. Yeah, okay, he wasn't putting up all the goals, but I thought that, when Hertl was on that third line center, the third line was really good.
Yeah, Hunter?
Well, to go back to that Marleau, he's always been one of our top 3 goal scorers or point scorers every season. And to be honest, like that credits him as a player, but it also kind of shows the lack of depth that this team's had over the years. I mean, we have 7 guys on our roster with over 10 goals, 6 with 15. We have a lot of depth at offense. And, I mean, Marlowe's 3rd on the team with goals with 18. And I think the puck's just being distributed a lot more, to be honest. I mean, yeah, he's not scoring on the chances he has, and he's always a streaky player. But, the fact that we have 3 lines that can roll right now, that's why I love these trade deadline acquisitions so much. I love winning a big deal for a big guy, just one of the flashy Eric Staal type of guys. We need depth. Like, the team that win the Cup, Chicago, win with guys like Andrew Ladd, Shaw. And then, like, Tampa had all those depth guys with Tyler Johnson and Droon and Callahan last year. We need guys that can fill up this roster that can also score when the main guys like the Pavelskis, the Couture's aren't scoring. Hurdle's been on fire. When he got hurt his rookie year, it took him a while to get the mental strength back. I mean, he took a dirty hit knee-on-knee from a tough guy, and he was a rookie, and he was a hot shot at that point, and it took him a while to get rolling again. He's parking in front of the net. He's not flashy. He's getting deflections, getting those dirty goals. He's a big guy. I mean, that's important. And, I like the way the team's rolling right now. At the end of the day, this is a game we should have won against a team that essentially is selling out for the end of the year, just trying to have draft pick. But the way we won this game is going to be huge in playoffs, because not every game in the playoffs is going to be a good game, good team effort. But if you can come out with a win, that's all that matters at the end of the series.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And as you can see, Puck Guy not here tonight, but clearly Hunter is using his AOL connection.
Is it glitchy? Am I glitchy tonight?
Yeah,
you sound like you're an auto-tune. It's awesome, actually.
Yeah, little bit. We do have a question from. We got a question from the Twitter machine at Kevin Lacey 22. Who has, and I think this is more directed towards you, Ian, who has improved the most since the start of the season, Hurdle or Donskoy? Oh, this should be good.
Ooh, I'm going to go Hurdle.
Now, is that because we've seen more history from him?
Yeah, I think, Hurdle, based on what we've seen from Donskoy, we've kind of seen just a steady, like I said, he's just very consistent, very steady play, where, there's a lot of questions about Hurdle coming into this season. Was Hurdle going to be the guy that we thought we drafted a couple years ago, or was he going to be forever ruined by Dustin Brown? And I think that we've got that question answered now, and it's a good answer. Obviously, Hurdle looks fantastic this year, and it's been such a 180 from even last season, so I have to give it to Hurdle.
Anybody else thoughts on that?
Well, just with Donskoy, I think he's one of the least talked about rookies in the NHL right now, just because we are on the West Coast. He kind of came on a little bit later, but when we play these East Coast teams next week with the Bostons, the Washingtons, and depending on his play, I think the talk about Donskoy is going to start being a little bit more prevalent in the league. Obviously, not the way Hurdle came on just with those huge 4-goal games and just leading the league in points, but Donskoy is going to start to get some recognition for the type of play he has in the East Coast, depending on how we could do with these home games next week.
Well, absolutely. We do have some comments coming in from the Vancouver locker room, which are always fun because, as some of you may know, Vancouver is my most hated team, and it all stems and started with the series against Boston. After the second goal, we stepped back. We didn't start to play in the third until they went up 3-2. We needed more. That from Henrik Sedin. I don't know about you guys. That sounds like a quote we would have been hearing from the Sharks last season. What do you think, Gentry?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would have been another, Sharks excuse from last year when we would have just been, going lower and lower into the standings. But luckily, it's, coming from the Sedin sisters who, I'm sorry, I have no love for the Canucks. I'm just, this is what happens when karma comes and bites you in the ass. So, they should have beaten us tonight, but they allowed us, and then all it took was that one goal from Hurdle, and the Sharks just kind of fed off of that and went. All the Canucks had to do was just hunker down and just play a better game, and they didn't. So the fact that they allowed it, it was 2-0, and then it was 3-2. It was 3 unanswered goals. So sucks to suck, Canucks.
Yeah, it's funny. Like as the last 5 years have transpired, ever since that just horror show of the Vancouver riot after Game 7 and just everything that transpired, it's been so funny to see karma just kind of slowly nitpick away at this organization as it just depletes itself, whether it's hanging on to the sisters for way too long, whether it was handing out no trade clauses like it was candy at Halloween. You had the whole front office debacle, and now it seems like anything that Gillis was involved with is being completely jettisoned away from the organization.
Or
it's going.
Or trading Kessler, or trading Corey Schneider and Roberto Luongo, and not having a sure number one goalie.
Yeah. Well, and wasn't Eddie Lack involved in there somewhere too?
Yeah.
So it's just. This has just really been a lot of fun for me to watch from the outside. I just gotta say, this has been spectacular. When you see, you're just a team that you just cannot stand, just circling the drain for this long, drawn-out period. It's just really fun to enjoy and watch. And I root for this to happen to the Southern California teams very soon.
I mean, it's tough being a Sharks fan at times, just with the playoff losses and all that stuff. But we missed the playoffs last year, first time in a decade, and we've bounced back nicely this year. That franchise has been around for over 40 years. They don't have a cup either, and when they crash, they burn. They go down so hard, and their fans suffer for years and years on end, and then they're so excited to party after a cup. They're finally ready to raise the cup, and they already decided they were going to party, so they just burn down half their city. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, but it's nice to see a team that handled us so easily in a playoff series, and they had so many fans in San Jose that series. It was just ridiculous. Canadian flags everywhere. I mean, they have a good fan support system when they're playing well, but
they do. They don't. For me, well, I was gonna say for me, I just love the fact that obviously every franchise has its firsts, and I just love the fact that one of the firsts for the Sharks is the first team they ever swept in a playoff series. I love that was against Vancouver, especially after that stanchion horse crap. It's like that idea, it was kind of sweeping them, just kind of buried the whole memory of the stanchion goal. I loved that.
Kevin Bieksa ending our series for them to go to the frickin' Cup Finals. Nothing made me more. And it was such a garbage goal.
But we were so. We were down so far in that series.
I know, but the way they played that series, if they ended on a nice goal or a power play, that would have been one thing. But that goal was just awful, and they just left such a unsatisfied, sour taste. And Kevin Bieksa, I hate that guy so much.
There's just so many to hate, whether it's Bieksa or Burrows or Edler. I mean, the list goes on for so long.
I respect Kessler, I really do. I like the way he plays. I do. He's not a prick off the ice either. He's gritty and stuff like that, but he's not a cheap player. But Bieksa is just a rat. He's the new Pronger to me, except not half as good. He's just a loser.
Well said. Is there anything you guys wanted to cover with regards to tonight's match? Whether it was 1 for 4 on the power play, let Vancouver kind of take over the shot clock early in the game, and then came back, and I think it kind of ended up pretty even, almost in all facets, whether it was in the circle, shot clock, what have you. It all seemed pretty even to me. Is there anything else, any other takeaways you had from tonight?
I gotta go with Jones. What a save to keep that game, to keep us with the lead. I mean, wow. If that was Nemo, that would have been in, and we would have been sitting here going, "Oh God, here we go again."
Here we go.
But,
you could tell when we tied it that we were going to win that game. I mean, to come out first minute of the third period to tie the game on just a clear shot from the point, you could tell their fans were out of it. It's a bunch of young guys on that Vancouver roster, just putting in new guys, just trying to give him a shot in the league. But you could tell we were going to come back and we were going to win that game as soon as we tied that game.
Funnily enough, you're talking about how Kessler's okay. I just get tweeted a GIF showing a Sharks scoring, and then boom, Kessler immediately throws him into the boards. But I think there's been a lot of talk about the different pieces, whether it's Paul Martin or Joel Ward or Donskoy or even these smaller additions that we've seen with Spaulding and Pollock. I feel like Jones has really been a real key, if not the key acquisition, obviously because he's the goalie, but is it me or does the team just seems to have a bit more of a swagger and a lot more confidence with Jones in there instead of Nemo? You know what I mean? If they get down a goal or two, they don't kind of turtle like we saw a lot last year, where they just kind of knew that, oh, well, we didn't get that first goal, just might as well wave the flag, pack it in.
A lot of it has to do with Jones. I think he's adopted some of Quick's mentalities where he is so calm and in net. He just, if he doesn't look rattled, and when you don't look rattled and your goalie still looks confident being down 2-0, I think the team feeds off of that. Exactly. I feel like with Nemo, when they were down 2-0 and Nemo's just kind of looking around what do I do? What do I do? The rest of the team's okay, well, we have to, kind of address that. But with Jones, it's just the opposite. It's just all right, I let 2 in, no more.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that the other thing too is the difference between the goals that Jones lets in and Niemi used to let in. Niemi kind of was really bad for letting in these just awfully deflating weak goals. And Jones did have a little rough patch in the middle of the year, but for the most part, they're just not the same kind of goals. The goals that Niemi would let in, it would just obviously just kick the sail, the wind right out of your sails, because you would be, you'd be in the game, you'd be playing well, you'd be pushing pressure, and then it would go the other way, and Nemo would let in this weak garbage beach ball goal. And how are you supposed to, get up after that when you just have that happen over and over and over again?
Yeah, and I think a big thing with it is Nemo won a cup as a rookie with a team that had arguably the best defensive core in the history of the league.
Exactly.
Then he gets a big deal with the Sharks. Comes there, he's supposed to bring us to a cup. And, he's already got this mentality that he's a top goalie in the league. So he's not there to, learn anymore. And granted, the Sharks had an issue with their goalie coach passing away, who was one of the greatest of all time, Warren Strelo. And, they didn't have that influence with Jones. He's trying to prove himself as a goalie, that he can be a starter. We have Johan Hedberg as a new goalie coach, and Nabby's in there to influence. He's taking a lot of advice from a lot of good people, but he's also playing a lot more games than I think anybody would have expected. But that's also because you see the goals Stalock was letting in, and Jones wasn't letting those in either. And I think we're going to see Reimer play on Tuesday against Edmonton. That's when I think we're going to see him for the first time. I'm pretty excited to see how he's going to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't think Reimer will play on Saturday just to kind of get the hometown behind him,
there has been a lot of speculation about that.
I think if you're Todd McClellan, sorry, Peter DeBoer.
This isn't 2015.
I know. I'm sorry. I would let. I mean, Jones has been really good, and I understand you want to ride the hot hand and all. We can list off all the cool hockey cliches, but you got Reimer. Reimer is he's a guy that can take a fair bit of the load. I don't know why you don't pretty much. I don't want to say completely fully split it, but I would like to see Reimer get at least 8 starts before the season is done. That would be my comfort zone.
We have back-to-backs Monday, Tuesday on the road, in Calgary Monday, in Edmonton Tuesday. So I'd see Jones Monday, Reimer Tuesday, and we got Thursday and Saturday at home, Devils Capitals. Honestly, we could see Reimer go again Thursday, so we could have Jones against the Capitals at home, because that's going to be probably the best game at home for this team this year. That's a game we're going to have a lot of fans at. We're going to want to play well in front of them, and that's a game that we could build some momentum on.
Absolutely, and hopefully the amount of home games that the Sharks have with the remaining schedule, hopefully they can build, because obviously, I mean, best on the road right now. Let's bring that winning home. Let's see that here.
They've done really good though. I mean, they
Oh yeah, they
the record at home is like almost 500 after being atrocious. Or it might even be over 500 at this point. I'd have to check.
Yeah,
So
and it was really bad really early. And it's, I think we've done it, or we've recalled it a few times. That Winnipeg game at the beginning of January seemed to be such a kind of like wake up call, and since then they've been playing some really really good hockey. And going back to what you were saying about Nemo, yeah, I didn't understand that. And Doug Wilson, for whatever reason, just has something in his mind that for some reason it's he just really places a ton of value on somebody who has a ring. I don't know why that is. There are tons of people who don't have rings that win their first one every year. So that always does get on my nerves. But I will say, for finally on this issue, yeah, when I saw that Jones was wearing the same number, I was just like, oh, it's cursed. Wear something else.
So with that Wilson logic, I understood it for a while. I mean, all those trade deadlines he was doing, like we got Bill Guerin, and
if you have a lot of youth, I can understand it.
And I kind of understood it for a while, and I took value in a guy who won a cup before until there was one player I talked to after he retired, and he came to the Sharks after he won a cup. And I said, you ever notice that any guy that came to San Jose, he won a cup before? He's like, yeah, we kind of realized it got to the point where the guys that got to San Jose, they realized, hey, I already got my cup. I'm in sunny Northern California. I could walk down the streets without people bothering me. I could live here when I retire, This is just a good place to play hockey and to grow, and to have a family and retire here. Winning a cup and with the media not hounding you, the pressure isn't there to win the cup as much as some other cities. So some guys will come here after doing all the hard work to make the money and live in sunny Northern California, and I just found that pretty funny.
The Coyotes had that problem for a long time too, where it would just be like guys that were just going there to play golf in between games and
goddamn Roenick
Roenick Hall.
Roenick goes to Phoenix, LA, and San Jose in the end of his career. I wonder why.
Yeah, you would think, God damn, there's no Gators here. I need to go find Gators.
Yeah.
So do you think we see any major changes between now and Saturday for the Canucks? Because obviously the Sharks don't need to change anything. Things are working. The lines are set up with, I forget what Ian called it down the middle with Thornton and
Marlowe.
But I'm trying to think of what he called it. It was Thornton, Marlowe, Tierney, and Couture, and you called it something.
It's a murderer's row of centers, man.
Well, that wasn't it. You called it something funnier, but either way, obviously we're not we're gonna keep that as the centers. We're not going to be moving things around like PDB did a few games ago. So what, if any, changes, Ian, do you see Vancouver trying to make for the next game, and will we see Miller again?
I don't know. I mean, last time we seen Markstrom, that didn't go so well for Vancouver either. Look, I think what can Vancouver do right now? You got to remember, this is a team that's just depleted by injuries down the middle, and you win down the middle in the West. That's all there is to it. I don't know what they can do. This team is beat up. It's got people that are injured. You just got to keep letting your kids get experience and kind of go from there.
Thank God we have 3 more games against them. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. We were talking about this before, in that back when we were doing our first PADs shows of the season in October, and we're talking about the schedule. We're going, damn near a calendar year between games between these teams. And it's like, how the hell can you go 5 months into a season before you see a team that's in your division, for Christ's sakes?
Yeah.
You go this far, and it's like, come on, guys. And then now, as luck would have it, it's just kind of like, good looking out, NHL schedulers. We appreciate it.
Shit, I mean, we have 2 more against Edmonton, 2 more against Phoenix, and 3 more against Vancouver. But, I mean, other than that, we're facing 3 of the top teams in the East and then 3 of the other top teams in the West. But those are all home games. I mean, we really lucked out for March, but that's We had a really tough February and a really tough November, but that's where those road wins are really coming into play right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Gentry, what are you looking forward to on Saturday?
I mean, this Saturday, or I'm looking forward to the tweet up, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there, and also, but I'm just looking forward to seeing another. I want to see a 60-minute game on Saturday. I want to see them put that effort that they put into the second, into the third. I want to see them do that all 60 minutes, and I want to see Reimer in net, just because. Yeah, you ride the hot hand, but you don't want to burn him out like you did in Nabokov, going into the playoffs. So give Reimer a start, kind of let him get used to that San Jose feel, because, we could be relying on him at some point. That's why we acquired him. We wanted him to kind of come and give us stability, because obviously Stalock wasn't doing the job. Have him start, and have it be against a division rival, so he kind of gets an idea of, how those games are going to be. Then and then just start working them in. You can't have them sit down and then be like, all right, you're coming in. Martin's let in 5-6 soft goals. Game one of the of round one. So you don't want to have a cold goalie going into this. So give him starts.
Our buddy Chris pointing out that saying that it's been said that this is the first time since 1997 that divisional foes have met for their first game, and it's after game 60. So that's pretty ridiculous. But you had a good segue there, boss. This Saturday, don't forget, it is Puck Guys Tweet Up at the Tank. So we'll be getting together. Well, some people will be getting together at the kiosk. What's the section?
Oh God, I don't remember. It's right near the Sharks Care Foundation kiosk. We usually, you're gonna have to go with the Puck Guy on the.
Just follow, follow.
Just look for the people. Just look for the people standing in the middle of the walkways, looking at their phone, tweeting while they're walking through and waiting for other people that they usually tweet with, and then looking around to see. I think that's the person who I see online. Can't really tell.
Hold on. Are you at J Alexander 46? We don't refer to each other by real name. We refer to each other by our Twitter handles.
That's right.
In the Matrix.
Yes. St. Owen saying that it's 118. I can neither confirm nor deny that. But follow at PuckGuy14 for all the details. But I know that there's going to be a meetup prior to the game and a meetup at the first intermission, and there's usually some stragglers for the second intermission. So go enjoy that, and by all means, get your free button.
Yes.
So with that, I don't know if there's too much more to cover. Angry, nasty Canadian, is there anything you would like to cover?
No, I think we're good. Just even though that most of us will be at the tweet up, there will be some of us who are still sitting at home from our computers, so there will be a show after the tweet up game. I will be on it. I'm pretty sure Chris will be on it. I'm not sure who else, but we'll figure it out there.
Wait, have we covered the World Cup of hockey yet?
Oh, we could talk World Cup.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, look at this. Hold on. Look at the producer.
So,
has our buttons
actually
going.
gave me an image, but unfortunately he didn't format it well, so the information at the bottom is not. It's not showing up. There's more information at the bottom. It says 5:45 to 6:30 by Sharks Foundation kiosk outside sections 218 and 219.
There you have it.
There's your production value for the night, folks.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ian, what do you have to say about the Worlds?
So the World Cup rosters were announced yesterday. At least the preliminary 16. Obviously, a little bit of drama around some of the picks. The North American team also got picked, and I talked about this on Tilton Glasses last night, so I'll quickly recap here. I think the big drama snub for Team Canada is obviously people are really upset that PK Subban wasn't in the top 16, and obviously a lot of them are going to point the fingers at Vlasic because they look at that roster and they go, okay, well, wait, Vlasic, what the hell? But Vlasic's not the guy you want to argue with, because here's the thing. One, you actually have to bring defensemen that can play defense. Two, Canada's really big on their right shot, left shot, matching up guys. So if you look at PK Subban, he has a right-hand shot. So do you put PK Subban on instead of Doughty? I don't even think that's a that's a conversation that's laughable. Could you make an argument for Weber? I guess, but that's not an argument I'll have with you. I think Subban's on the team when it's all said and done. Team USA, the big omission, in my opinion, was Phil Kessel. I don't know how you could not have Phil Kessel on your top 16. The only person who has more points since Sochi than Phil Kessel is Patrick Kane. The other thing, too, is the North American team, which is the 23 and under team. I think this team really kind of hurts the U.S. I think the U.S., when I kind of look at their roster, I feel like if they could have some of those guys from that under 23 team, it would be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like, this is the first time they've done this in a while, and you don't know if there's some guys that went to the league and said, look, this is the off season. I'm not going to do this tournament. You know, I got family things I have, maybe like stuff to rehab, stuff like that. At the end of the day, this isn't as important as the Olympics. So some guys that maybe might not be on that Olympic roster in a couple of years aren't going to be on this roster either, and that's why some other guys are going to get a shot on this USA team. And I think the USA has the best roster, in my opinion. I think Russia has the best offense. They always seem to choke when the games start to matter. But I think these 16 guys on Team USA are really strong, except they got you know, they got a good coach too. I mean, Coach Ron Wilson, I believe. I think he's coaching for them. Is he?
No, it's Tortorella.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I remember Tortorella got the job when he didn't have a job, and now he's Columbus's coach. It'll be cool, but it'll be like the World Baseball Classic, like a lot of hype going into it. When the games start to get played, it's not. I don't know if it's going to be that intense. It'll be cool that it's in Toronto though.
I think it's going to be good. I think that with the European team and the North American teams kind of put a wrinkle into it. But I think the thing you have to remember is that this is a joint venture between the NHL and the NHLPA. This counts towards HRR. This is a big deal. Players are going to want to go to this because this is going to help keep that cap from plummeting, which the Canadian dollar is just murdering it right now. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think the players are going to be a little more into it. They're going to want to put on a good show. They're going to, I mean, and anytime you put on your national, you know, emblem, you want to win. I don't think you don't put on your national emblem and just kind of say whatever. I know Chester, was it Chester that asked about the North American team?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what they did was they made a couple of hybrid teams to fill out the roster. They have a Team Europe, which is basically anyone not born in Finland, Sweden, Czech Republic, Russia. I'm missing Sweden. And then you have Team North America. Team North America consists of players from either Canada or the United States that are under the age of, that are 23 or under. So if you look at the names on there, I mean, that team looks exciting. I'm not sure their goaltending's gonna hold up. I like John Gibson, but
no, wait. So is it only Team North America that has players under the age of 23? And
yes.
Then, okay, so because I was confused by that when they were announcing, and I was like, wait. So why is Kopitar on Team Europe then?
Yeah, no, Team Europe because they had to throw together the tournament so quickly they couldn't have like a play-in, so they didn't want to just be like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you know. And the other thing too is that the NHL, because this is an NHLPA venture, it's not a double IHF venture, that they wanted to get as many NHL players playing in the tournament as possible without having to rely on the European leagues.
Because man, we got to sell jerseys.
Right.
So,
speaking of which,
that North America jersey, I really like that one. I think the Europe one sucks, but
I really like the Canada one.
Me too. I love the sleeves.
Canada always has nice jerseys.
I actually really like the White Russia one too.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything because they look cool, but I'd have to like physically see it and kind of see how they're made before I can kind of come to any final judgment. But from the looks of it, I mean, I want to get one because, you know,
I want one of those Canada ones. The only thing that I just find a little funny about the Canada one is, first off, is the leaf on it is very kind of streamlined and modern. Yeah. But the funniest part about it is, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, or maybe it's just my warped mind, that it just basically kind of has a little arrow pointing at your junk.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's true. That's great.
Just what I really like about the Team Canada jersey is the maple leafs on the sleeve, which is kind of like a throwback to the '72 jerseys.
The Summit Series jerseys. Yeah. Did you guys see Carey Price said he's not going to play in it today or yesterday? his wife is apparently due to have a kid the week of that tournament, so he's dropped out.
Oh, I was unawares.
Yeah. But, you know, they got enough other goalies. They
have Braden Holtby.
And Crawford.
And Crawford.
And they'll get somebody else. And, like, this is still the preliminaries, but Canada's got a good team, too. But I think this is the one that USA actually has a shot at.
Awesome. Well, we can't wind a show down without a Slushy Jake question, so
Slushy Jake question.
It's the Slushy time. So, in honor of our call-up tonight, good old Haley had a nice little scrap tonight. The question is, since the lockout last season, which Sharks player has had the most fighting majors in one season? Now, I have answers here, but would any of you...
Since the first lockout?
Since the first... I'm assuming I think he means since the 04-05 lockout.
So, the lockout before Crosby got drafted, that was like... His rookie year was the year after that lockout.
Yeah.
I believe so.
The full year lockout, the one that lasted a full season.
Yes.
A couple names come to mind.
Would anybody like to take a guess, or do you want the choices?
The first one that comes to mind is Jody Shelley for me. Maybe not him, but that was like the first one that popped in my mind.
All right. Well, I will give you your choices, and we'll start with you, Hunter. Brad Staubitz, 09-10.
Oh, it was for a single season, not total.
Oh, yeah. No. You know what? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Since the lockout, which Sharks players had the most fighting majors in one season?
So one season. Okay.
Staubitz in 09-10, Murray in 07-08, Shelley in 08-09.
I'm going to stick with Shelley.
Okay. Ian?
I'm going to go with Murray against a better judgment.
All right. And Gentry?
I'm going to go Staubitz, so why not?
Oh, good. Everybody spread it around. And the answer would be Jody Shelley with 16. Staubitz had 12. Murray had 11.
I think Staubitz should get the win just because that time he knocked the hell out of Jordan Tutu should count as 5. I remember that was a game I was privileged to be working in the locker room for that one, and when Jordan Tutu, he wanted to go to the box. He didn't even know he was all messed up. He's in the locker room, and his nose is on the other side of his face, and he's telling them to hurry up because he wants to get back on the ice and beat Staubitz's ass. I think that was the night that Brad Staubitz got a big thank you from the rest of the NHL, just like when Evander Kane knocked Matt Cook out.
Yeah, it's so nice when you feel that going.
Yeah, that was a good standing ovation because I was there at that game and everybody at SAP.
Greatest fight in Sharks history that was one side. Link Gates had a great one against Bob Probert, but I mean, just a total ass whooping. That was the best one for sure.
And a Jake segment wouldn't be complete without a Slushy question.
Oh, here we go.
We might want to take this one offline because I'm afraid of I'm afraid of what is about to happen in the Google chat. But his question is, I kind of like this girl at school and I'm just wondering what advice you guys have. Now take into account this kid is 12 going on 13. I would say, you know what advice I have, dude? Honestly, keep your nose in the books. Study your ass off, go to a good college, get a kick-ass job where you make kick-ass money, and you will be floating, you will be swimming in women. So just do that. So, do the hard stuff now, get rid of that, then just have the fat dollars to make it rain in Vegas whenever you go there, and the women will be flocking to you, bro.
Or invent a new type of social networking that rivals Facebook and get billions.
Pull on her herring kicker.
I had the same strategy. I got really lucky just the way that this worked out for me. I ended up getting tickets to a San Jose Sharks game. I would take this nice female. I'd ask her in person, not over text or Facebook like these youngsters do these days. This was in the early 2000s.
Yeah, do it in person, people.
This was in the mid-2000s, granted.
So you didn't ask her to Sharks and chill?
Well, this is only half of the story. Finding the tickets and being able to take them and treat them to dinner and a game is one thing, but, I was somehow able, every single time with the date, able to bring them up to the broadcaster's booth and introduce them to Randy Hahn. And I don't know what happens when girls meet Randy Hahn. I think he's like an aphrodisiac because it's ridiculous because they don't even want to stay for the third period at that point. So I got to give props to Randy Hahn on that one because just the fact that I was able to get away with that one and just hook that up every single time, I mean, I'm a lucky guy.
So the short answer is be Randy Hahn's kid, Slushy, and you're in.
And you're in.
Or just get my press pass one game and figure it out the rest of the way.
There you go.
Damn.
So I think we should just kind of leave that one at that. If you need more guidance, you can direct message people.
Take her to dinner and a game. Actually talk to her in person and don't text fucking constantly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And don't stalk her.
Don't stalk her. No GHB.
None of that. So with that, I think it's about time. I don't know if we have our super producer still checking us out. With any luck, he'll be back on in minutes to close this little soiree out. Yeah, no, I'm on it. Oh, he's here.
Oh, he's here.
So, all right. So with that, once again, Sharks win 4-2. No, 3-2. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was clued into the 4-1 win the other day. See, that's what happens when you play the same team 3 times in 1 week. So we look forward to the game on Saturday, which is, once again, the night of the tweet up. Follow at PuckGuy14 for all the pertinent info. Tweet up, 5:45 to 6:30 outside of 118, 218. Enjoy your evening, people. And once again, if you could, if you just join, hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom. We really appreciate it. For Hunter, for Jay Alexander, for I Reed, it's AJ, Pucknology After Dark. We'll see you on Saturday night, people. Have a great night.